Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, raw, dog. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys, rat. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, raw, dog. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, raw, dog. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys, rat. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, beans, greens, beans, greens, beans, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken.
I think we're on the wrong stream.
Can't hear anything.
How do you not hear this, Mike?
Oh.
Welcome to Black Thanksgiving, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh. I can't hear
You good
it.
now? Are you good
Gotta
now?
turn the volume up. Gotta turn the volume up.
Exactly. We're trying to get turned up, Mike, on a Monday night. Oh, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the Sports Arena. I'm your man, Eric Wilson. I got my man, the sports reporter without paying, my co-host, Ray Lynn, back in the building. Pitchfork Lunch just came back from the Rose Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Caratanudo.
Last time in the Pac-12, Eric.
I knew it. I knew if anybody was going to be there, my man Mike was definitely going to be there. Glad you were back home safe and sound. Mike, is the vibe in Arizona still going? Because I know you next door to Glendale. They still celebrating and partying and stuff from that victory yesterday?
Man, Ray will appreciate this. I got 3 people message me on Twitter, Ray, saying Cardinals are this year's Cardinals are last year's Lions. They're gonna win. They're gonna win their last 8.
Can I ask Mike a question about you said about Arizona?
Well, hold on. Can I at least introduce you first?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask.
That's okay. Let me introduce you, John. John Shear, Sideline Sports, NFL alumni media. This man all over the city of D.C., Baltimore, Virginia, PA. He got it all on lock. Our special guest in the building tonight, y'all know him, our brother Denzel Snipes joining us. And he already know what time it is because he is part of a team that I was very, very critical of. But I have to admit, they are making some changes that actually have me standing up and might have to retract a couple of statements. But we'll get to that in a moment. John, please, you wanted to ask Mike something?
Yeah, what is this? Is this Arizona Wildcats stuff like? Is that true? Those rumors about them like mishandling a bunch of money and having to like possibly cut a lot of their programs. They're like athletic programs, mishandling like over hundreds of millions of dollars. Was it $240 million they're short?
Yeah, we were dealing with our athletic director stepping down today. He decided to resign. So I mean, I don't know. All I'm going to say is I don't know. It couldn't happen to a better school. To answer your
of course, you would say that.
They're considering cutting 23,
no, but I mean, I don't think
teams.
I don't think they'll be cutting anything. So we'll see. I mean, a lot more of it has to come out. I did shoot a message to one of the guys down there. I know it's been reporting on Arizona for years, but I'm guessing he's been bamboozled with it. So, and hey, Denzel, I just want you to know that, of course, I would say that because it's a high school. Eric knows. It's just like nobody cares about. He went to Ohio State, or he went to Penn State. Nobody cares about Ohio State. But the only person on this channel that picked your team, man. The only person.
I saw it.
So let's get into that. The reason why I have asked Denzel to join us here tonight on the Sports Arena is because over the last couple of weeks, we have seen the emergence of one Mr. C.J. Stroud, number 2 draft pick from this past April's draft. And so my question to start off tonight here on the Sports Arena, and Denzel, since you are our guest, I'm going to come to you first. Very simply, are the Houston Texans a true threat this year?
As far as the true threat goes, it remains to be seen. I will say this much, and that is the Houston Texans are 5-4, but they've actually beaten good teams. They've surprised a lot of people out there. Before the beginning of the year, And this has been talked about on the Gauntlet and everything. Of course, you can catch me on Friday nights on the Gauntlet. So, with that being said, it was like, okay, well, CJ has the potential, but he doesn't really have the weapons, But now you look at it right now, and CJ Stroud is making Noah Brown, Devin Singletary,
Tank Dell.
Tank Dell, making them all look like Pro Bowlers. And I wouldn't be shocked if one of them made a Pro Bowl. I mean, Noah Brown, he had back-to-back 150-yard games. Unheard of, right? That's Noah Brown. Big Mike, you remember that guy, right?
And Dalton Schultz, too. And Dalton Schultz.
Then you also got Dalton Schultz. You remember that guy, too, right? If I told you in this last game, the win versus Cincinnati, that the quarterback, wide receiver, and running back combo of C.J. Stroud, Noah Brown, and Devin Singletary became the first wide receiver, quarterback, and running back combo to go for 350 passing yards, 150 rush yards, and 150 receiving yards in a single game since 1998 Indianapolis Colts. That was Peyton Manning, Marshall Faulk, and Torrey Small. And it seems like every single week, seemingly these guys are making history because you saw what C.J. Stroud did last week. The crazy part is you look at C.J. Stroud yesterday, and he actually was responsible for 3 turnovers. Someone could say that was his worst game, and even then he passed for 350 plus and still had 2 total touchdowns and won the game, second straight game-winning drive. So to answer your question, are the Texans a true threat? I still say that remains to be seen. At a minimum, we can play spoiler. At a minimum, but sitting pretty nice, second in the division. We're a game back. We already got a victory against the Jaguars. Hearing about the next 2 weeks, we're going to see them in Houston. So we'll see. But, I mean, C.J. Stroud, Offensive Rookie of the Year, is it a lock? I think it is. As a matter of fact, a lot of sports pundits have them in the MVP conversation.
Whoa.
One time. Hang on.
They do.
Go ahead.
Okay. Let's not put the cart before the horse here.
I get what you're saying. Now, me personally, I don't think he's going to win it. But in the conversation is what I'm mentioning.
Yeah.
And that's what people are saying. They're like, hang on a second. Offensive Rookie of the Year, done. But they're having him in the conversation. Again, I don't think, no matter how well he plays, I don't think they trust a rookie to give him MVP.
That's fine.
Even then, there's better quarterbacks. Yes.
There's better receivers.
Mm-hmm.
There are better players out there, and I take nothing away from what that young man is doing, which is why I'm asking this conversation here tonight on the Sports Arena. However, I've heard all the talk too this morning, and I'm like, whoa, let's pump the brakes, slow your roll. Listen, he's the number 2 draft pick for a reason. Arguably should have been the number 1 draft pick over Bryce Young, but Carolina went with their direction. Right. So, Ray, let me come to you. Are the Texans in that vaunted AFC that we talk about with the Mahomes of the world, the Burrows, the Lamar Jacksons, the Josh Allens, the Trevor Lawrences in his own division, are the Texans a true threat, sir?
Why not? Why not? Right? So real quick, I just want to piggyback on what Denzel was just saying. And it's one of them things where, as sports analysts, as media, as fans, whatever, you hear something, your natural inclinations go, whoa, hold on, we're moving too fast. Right? When you say C.J. Stroud MVP, he's a rookie. It can't be, right? Why can't it be? Why can't he be number 1 in the NFL in passing yards per game? Because he is, right? Why can't he be number 6 in passer rating, and one of those guys ahead of him ain't playing no more, and Kirk Cousins, and the other's Russell Wilson. And none of them is dealing with what he's like. He's a rookie with no real weapons. That we just talked about that, right? Like Brock Purdy has Debo, Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Ayuk, right? He doesn't have that. Tua has 2 running backs that's likely to go for 150 with Waddell, with Tyreek Hill. No disrespect to Tua. Tua's playing great. Dak Prescott with CD, the list goes on. He don't have none of that, and he's leading the league in passing yards per game. So if you said the guys in the MVP conversation, it ain't crazy. And he got the storyline and the narrative. Nobody thought the Texans would be good, and here they are sitting at 5-4. Here's the crazy thing about the Texans, right? I wanted to say, nope, they're not. The question originally was, Were they a threat to win their conference? I mean, their division? Absolutely. Right? Can they finish the season with a better record than the Jaguars? Absolutely. Here's the weird, scary thing, right? When you're a good football team, you beat the teams you're supposed to beat. That's what good football teams do. Here are the Texans' wins. They beat the Jaguars, Steelers, Saints, Buccaneers, Bengals. All teams who before yesterday were over 500, right? Their losses, they lost to the Ravens. Good loss. They lost to the Colts, the Falcons, and the Panthers. That's weird. It's weird, right? It's like you're beating really good teams and you're losing to really bad teams. And the rest of their schedule is filled up with some bad teams. So, like, I don't know. Like, it was one of those things where they, like, play to their level of competition or they get up for these games against the teams that nobody expects them to beat. Like, if you looked at most football pools, most people probably had Cincinnati. Cincinnati looked like they had got their stuff together and was back to looking like the team that we saw last year that we expected to challenge for the AFC title, right? And Houston went in and just beat them. But the rest of their schedule, they have the Cardinals, the Jags again, the Broncos, the Jets, the Titans, Browns, Titans, Colts. Like, I don't know what to make of that, right? I think the Titans inevitably could be the best team, the best team, not the Titans, the Texans, the best team in the AFC South. They could be. They really could be. They just have to go out and beat the teams they're supposed to beat. Like, when they go out and play the Jets, they're not supposed to lose that game. No disrespect, Mama Carrington. The Jets just aren't very good. Zach Wilson isn't very good, right? They're supposed to go out and beat them. They're supposed to beat the Colts when they play them, right? They're supposed to beat the Cardinals, even with Kyler Murray. They're supposed, like, if they are
have one win, guess who it's against?
That's what I'm saying, right? Y'all know I was on my cruise last week, right? And I was watching the Panthers play Chicago, and I was like, man, this team is pitiful. How'd they beat the Texans? But they did. So they're good. I mean, CJ Stroud is everything advertised. I think Carolina's going to this could be looked at like Sam Bowie, Michael Jordan. Like, this could like CJ Stroud is so much better.
Okay.
He's so much better than Bryce Young. Like, it's unbelievable how much better.
And the crazy part about it is CJ Stroud is not dinking and dunking. He's throwing the ball at will wherever he wants. Wherever he wants, pretty much.
I know why you say that with shock.
40 yards
I know why you say that with shock, because it's an Ohio State quarterback. See, Eric, I had to get that in.
Real quick,
John Shear.
Hey, Eric.
Go ahead.
This is my last point. And
yes, sir.
I'm really big on plus minus.
Yeah.
I'm big on it, right? When you win or you win in big. Jacksonville is 6-3. They're +6 on the season. Granted, that beat down they took yesterday didn't help a lot. Houston is +25. Like, that means, like, their record is 5-4, right? It's only one game above 500, but they're +25. I mean, they're losing some close games, and when they're winning, right? Like, so listen, man. Yes, they could win the AFC South.
Okay. John, go ahead. Get in there, brother.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Like, they have an all-pro left tackle. Let's start with that. Like, let's not pretend that CJ Stroud has nothing. Because last time I checked, Larry Tunsil's a really good left tackle to have block your blind side. Bryce Young, it's the same thing with Tua and Justin Herbert. The first couple years, it was like, oh, Justin Herbert's blowing Tua out of the water. And it's like, just let these guys develop. Give them, I usually wait until year 3 to really make that assessment, as opposed to saying, well, Bryce Young looks awful. Well, he has no line, and he has a 33-year-old receiver who looks pretty good, but that's your lead weapon. You know, whereas CJ Stroud told the Texans, you need to go get me Tank Dell in that draft. And they listened to him, and that's working out. So don't say he doesn't have weapons, because he knew Tank Dell was legit. That's why he said, just like Joe Burrow said, go and get Jamar Chase, CJ Stroud said, go and get me Tank Dell. That's the guy I want. And they did it. Let's not overlook, like, the Saints game that he won. 48% completion percentage, only 199 yards and 2 touchdowns and a pick in that game. The Panthers game, he only threw 140 yards against a team with one win, which coincidentally is against them. Like, he killed Tampa Bay. He killed the Bengals, who don't have a good defense. I've been saying it all year. Like, I'm not knocking him, but in his past 6 games, 4 times he's thrown below 60% completion percentage. So everybody's just reacting to what he did against Tampa Bay. Because other than that, like, he's had some pretty good games, but he hasn't been otherworldly. The only otherworldly game was that Tampa Bay game, but Tampa Bay's pass defense is atrocious. Their run defense is really good. And that Cincinnati game they won, go watch the end of that game. If Tyler Boyd catches that gimme of a touchdown in the end zone, then CJ Stroud has to go and lead him to a game-winning touchdown drive.
But John, what do we always say? John,
drive.
what if we always say, if my aunt had a penis, she'd be my uncle? Come on now.
But you have to acknowledge.
Hey, we don't always say that.
Okay, I'm sorry. As Ray says,
the context of that win, they should have been in a position where they had to get a touchdown at the end of that game, not a field goal, because Tyler Boyd, Burrow laid in his lap and he just dropped it in the end zone.
Okay,
so,
but how many
times? I'm not
times?
knocking CJ Stroud, but let's also make sure we have some context to some of this stuff, because again, losing to the 0-win Panthers can't happen. Barely beating the Saints, who aren't very good, can't happen. Losing to the Falcons, who aren't very good, can't happen. Losing to the Colts, can't happen.
Hey, can I get me in, John? So you like in the same breath you go, well, I'm not knocking him, and then you give us.
I'm not knocking him. I just want to make sure I point out everything that he's done, right? And not just overreact to the.
But it's not just a Tampa game. He just went for 356 yesterday
against a bad defense.
Yeah, you can only play. Listen, man, you can only.
Oh my God,
John, you just love Lou Anarumo. I know that, Mike. I get it.
Hold on, John. So he didn't go for 249 and a touchdown against Atlanta. He didn't go for 306, 2 touchdowns and no picks against Pittsburgh. He didn't go for 280 and 2 touchdowns against Jacksonville, 384 and 2 touchdowns against the Colts. Mind you, this is a rookie. He has 15 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Thank you.
While leading the league in yards per game. It's not like he's just. It's not like he's just going out there dinking and dunking and getting 140 a game, i.e. Jimmy Garoppolo style or Tom Brady in his early years. He's chucking the ball. Right, so, one guy has more yards than him, and he has an extra game play.
So that's why I say you have to look at everything, because Lamar lost the game yesterday because he threw that pick 6. CJ Stroud made the same exact play and threw an interception you can't throw, like in the fourth quarter of that game. He did the same thing Lamar did. The only reason he's not getting shredded for it, he's a rookie. And they won the game, but he's not getting knocked for that throw, and he definitely should, because that's not a throw that you can.
But you just said it. He won the game when he got the ball back with 1:33 and 1 timeout. He did what he did last week, and he went right down the field.
But if Boyd catches that touchdown,
but here's the thing: what do we always do when a coach makes a decision? And I'll use the Sports Reporter without Pay's own Detroit Lions yesterday against the Chargers on that 4th and 2. If they would have been unsuccessful, what would all of the media outlets been talking about today? Why did Dan Campbell go for it? Even though we know that is his MO, that is his mantra, that is what he does. But because he did get the 4th and 2 and was successful, and the Lions are now 7 and 2, what are we talking about? We're talking about them having 7 wins. We're talking about the success of the decision made. So when CJ Stroud, granted, I'm not even factoring in that he's a rookie. That young man is going out there and doing things that an NFL quarterback, from maybe the outsider's eyes, maybe not from ours, because we watch and pay attention to certain things, but someone else outside of that world is going to look at this and say, wow, that's a great young man. I'm glad he went for it. Even though he is a rookie, he took that chance and was successful. Because the other side of it would have been, had he not been successful, then we would have placed the blame on him and said, see, another rookie mistake. You know what I mean? So let's make sure when you say give full context, then let's give full context.
Yeah,
he's out there making those decisions, holding himself accountable with those decisions.
Bad. I just want to make sure that
he said bad. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying to you is, but right now, we giving him the credit. Mike, please go ahead.
Ray took the one number I wanted to focus on is 15-2 as a rookie. Like, Peyton Manning's in the Hall of Fame, right? One of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen live, threw 28 interceptions as a freaking rookie. Yeah, has a game changed? Sure. They ran the ball a lot more then too, and Peyton Manning still threw those amount of picks with play action. 15-2. He's got the least amount of interceptions of any quarterback in the league. We all love Mahomes. He is great. Josh Allen. Joe Burrow, the least amount of interceptions. So, yes, I mean, Eric, when you first said, like, whoa, with Denzel, but a lot of people, I heard it all over the radio today after listening to a lot of ASU stuff, which is fine. But, like, it's not out of the realm if he stays on this pace. Now, yes, Eric, that is the big question. If he stays on a pace like this and this team wins games and they win the division, why couldn't he be MVP? Like 2 interceptions to this point. Mahomes has more. Allen has more. Herbert has more. Burrow has more.
I get it, Mike,
to answer your question, I'm with Ray. Yes, they can win this division. The other side of that, though, when I look at their offensive line, and Eric, we even said coming in the last few years, I mean, even and Ray's pointing this out throughout the years. I mean, Deshaun Watson had the worst offensive line, and he still led the league in freaking yards. I mean, he was chucking it all over.
Won a passing title.
Yeah, Pat, thank you. This man's talented. Like this offensive line, to your point, John, is better than it has been. And these guys, and getting a tight end, again, not just because he came from the Cowboys, but Denzel knows what I'm saying. Like Dalton Schultz, like this guy's established. Like he can get you out of a lot of trouble. 15-2 as a rookie. Yeah, okay, great. The yards weren't great. And if you're going to compare it to Herbert's rookie year, it's even a better start. I mean, granted, Herbert's first start, as we all know, was about 5 minutes before they played the Chiefs. Like, oh, you're starting, kid. Here you go. Here's the ball. Like, and he got better every week. Like, could he win MVP? I wouldn't have a damn issue with it at all. You stay on this pace, and Ray already pointed out the rest of their schedule. Like, it's doable. And I am just saying on air now, just in case I make a mistype and somehow, for some dumb reason, Eric, pick Jacksonville. Houston.
No, I know. The next time Houston and Jacksonville play each other, Mike, ain't even got to put that pick in. I am going to put this little symbol that you see down here attached to your name. Speaking of symbols and attachments in weekly pick'ems, we need to show love to this man right here because he solidified it last night. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe for the 1, 2, 3, 4, I think the 5th time, I think he's 50% right now.
Ooh.
Sports Arena Weekly Pick'ems champ, the sports reporter without pay, Ray
5
Land.
weeks out of 10. Hold on, can you put me back on there just for a second?
And I
There's a tie.
still lead the league.
It's because he got the points right, but we tied 1 week talking that trash in our damn chat there.
Do your dance.
I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, chicken, turkeys, rabbits, you name it. Look. I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes,
Hey,
lamb,
hey,
dogs,
hey.
greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys, rabbits, you name it. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, beans, greens,
Hey,
potatoes, chicken.
that's all, man. That's all.
I can't even
We
be
got
mad
a
at it.
tie. You got the points, but we still had a tie talking
I
about
can't
crap.
even be mad at it. Hey, a win is a win, Mike.
We tied 1 week. We tied 1 week.
Don't matter.
On the
He got the
points.
points right.
Either
He
way,
got the points right.
I say
Hey,
Coach Jam.
and listen. I've won it 5 weeks. That's not including the week that Eric, no disrespect, forgot to ask us about the points. I think it was me, you, and Megan going into Monday Night Football. He just forgot to ask us. So nobody won that week.
And I still lead
that week too.
I still lead the overall season standings.
No, you don't. I do.
Yeah,
by
I
a
do.
mile.
No, you
by
don't.
a mile, I lead it. What are
Not
you
in
talking
this
about?
guy.
Get at it,
I'm
Mike.
ahead by a mile.
John, please. Come on now. Cut it out. Cut it out.
Yeah, you
Hey,
don't need-
Denzel, much love, man. If you
That
want to hang
tiger
out with
hat's
us the
too
rest of
tight.
the night, you are more than welcome to. But I had to get you on for the Texans. And I will say again, listen, I'm very critical of the front office and ownership, but what D'Amico Ryan and CJ Stroud are doing, I cannot ignore the fact. And before I let you go, the only person who gave your Houston Texans love,
Big Mike.
and the Queen of Hoop, Megan Price, with 6 wins. So from myself, I won't speak for the sports reporter without pay or my man John Shear. I apologize for not having more faith in Houston. I will just say that right now.
I didn't think the schedule would be this soft. I mean,
Here he go.
Denzel,
You know what? I'm gonna you know what? And this-
Denzel, please. Just,
Don't. Miami can't beat a good team. He'll just throw all junk
Yeah,
out there.
see, he said what I was going to
Denzel,
say.
I wanted to
He
hear
said
what
what
you
I
were
was going to
saying.
say.
You didn't finish what you were saying.
Don't do it, Denzel. Don't do it. Don't,
It's not worth it.
you ever seen that? You ever seen the meme where the dude go, "That's bait."
Yeah, exactly.
That's bait, man. I'm
He
telling
was
you.
halfway. He was halfway out the door, and you stopped him.
I wanted to bring the brother on to talk about his team whenever we get a chance to chop it up with him. Make sure you check this brother out in the gauntlet, man. If you want to stick around, hang around. We're going to take a real quick commercial break. When we come back, I got to ask this question. Yo, who is the top dog, no pun intended, in the AFC North? Because it seems like week in and week out, that is constantly changing. that conversation. Plus, we're going to give you some NBA early season thoughts just on how things are going. I will say this, the fact that James Harden is no longer in Philadelphia and we have one of the best records, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. But more with the crew when we come back. All right, welcome back into the Sports Fan. Your man Eric Wilson alongside my co-host, the sports reporter I pay Ray Lynn, John Shear, Sideline Sports, NFL Alumni Media, Pitchfork Lunch, ASU. He's a Sun Devil, Jerry, Mike Carrottenuto, and our guest, Denzel Snipes, host of The Gauntlet. He does Cubfidential, all things a part of the Sideline Sports Network. So our next topic, gentlemen, it seems like every single week, someone in the AFC North, be it the Bengals, be it the Ravens, be it the Browns, be it the Steelers, they always seem to rise to the occasion and maybe sometimes even do the unthinkable. But we're halfway through the season. There has to be a top team in the AFC North. So, John Shear, I'm going to go to you first, my brother. In your opinion, who is the top team in the AFC North?
Well, the best division. I mean, the best defense. I mean, it goes to the Ravens. I would say the best coaching goes to the Ravens. It has to be the Ravens, right? I mean, they already went to Cincinnati and beat them. They went to Cleveland and beat them. Cleveland went to them, beat them. They at least split that, and they already took Cincy once. The Pittsburgh game was fluky, very, very fluky. This team is by far the best team just because they have the best defense, and it's not even close. I don't think the Browns defense is on the Ravens defense level. That's my opinion. Guys might like the Browns defense, but Browns defense don't exactly play great whenever it comes to going on the road. So I got to give it to the Ravens. Plus, I mean, Lamar Jackson's a former MVP. Joe Burrow just doesn't. One week when he beats the Niners, it's like, oh wow, he's finally healthy and he looks great. And then I'm watching the Bengals against the Texans, and it's like, well, that calf is really holding him back. It's like, well, what is it? Is he like healed, or is it the calf? Because you keep using the calf excuse every time that he does bad. Every time the Bengals struggle, it's, well, that calf really isn't healthy. But when he beats the Niners and they handle him pretty good, it's, wow, he's finally healthy, and the Bengals are Super Bowl contenders. So keep using that excuse, but the Ravens are the best team. The Steelers are the complete frauds. It's the worst 6-3 team I've ever seen in my entire life. It's the second worst. Remember when they were 11-0 a couple years ago, and everybody was like, wow, they're so great. And I was like, this team's they're frauds. And they went to the playoffs one and done. Like, that's what the Steelers are. I mean, Kenny Pickett has the lowest touchdown percentage for any quarterback in the history of the NFL whenever it comes to pass attempts and actually throwing the ball in the end zone. The lowest touchdown percentage in the history of the NFL out of every quarterback ever play. Kenny Pickett's dead last. So do what you want with that. Go on.
All right. So I'm going to go to my co-host, the sports reporter without pay, because our man Danny Thompson is chiming in saying that the winner of the Thursday night game between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens is the top dog, top team in the AFC North. Ray, do you agree with that?
No.
Okay.
I think it's a two-horse race, and it's between Cleveland and Baltimore, right? And it's a couple things I want to point out. Like, I don't even know. Like, I don't know if John just get on here and just see like a kid with 80, like he just whatever comes to his mind, it's just boom. No filter. I'm just saying it. Like, when you go, Cleveland's defense isn't on the level of Baltimore's. Well, where do you get this information from? Who's giving up the least amount of yards in the NFL? Oh, that would be the Cleveland Browns, right? Who's giving
when
up?
They go on the road, they struggle.
Sir, like, it balances out. I'm telling you that right now in the NFL, the Cleveland Browns have given up the least amount of yards in the entire NFL. not just their division, not just the AFC, the entire NFL, they've given up the least amount of yards. Let's look at passing defense because you said they're not on the level. So I look at passer rating. Yeah, but passer rating against their team, well, the Ravens are number 1, Cleveland's number 2. Ravens give up 70.0 passer rating. Cleveland gives up 72.7. Completion percentage. Who has the best completion percentage against in the whole entire NFL? Oh, that will be the Cleveland Browns. Quarterbacks complete 55.5% of their passes against them. Passing touchdowns given up. Ravens has given up 7. Cleveland has given up 9. Passing yards per game. Cleveland gives up 151 passing yards per game. That's number 1 in the NFL, John.
Go watch the Colts game. What did they do against the Colts?
Like I said,
come on, man. Like what they do? Look at their road game.
John, they played 9 games. And in 9 games, they give up 151 yards per game. So if they gave up a big game to somebody else and they still only giving up 151, it's called law of averages. That means they shutting everybody else down. I'm simply saying you can say what you want to say. If the best case to say that the Ravens are the better team is Lamar Jackson. And I'm not even a Lamar Jackson fan. Right now, he's playing like the best quarterback in the division. But as much faith as I had in Deshaun Watson, he hasn't lived up to it. But game by game, he's starting to look better and better. Like that the comeback against Baltimore, he looked better as the game went on. But you know who we don't talk about enough? And I'm going to put this on Facebook, too. I'm going to put a meme and it's going to say, start 2, bench 1, cut 1. We talk about Max Crosby. We talk about Micah Parsons. We talk about the Bosa brothers, right? Why don't nobody talk about Myles Garrett enough?
Thank you. He's running away with it.
Listen, man, I didn't realize until they said it during the game. They said this is his 7th season in a row with at least 10 sacks. You know, we in game 9. 7 sacks through 9 games. And I didn't, when they said it, I was like, let me go look. He had 16 last year, 16 the year before, 12 the year before that, 10 the year before that, and 13 the year before that, 13.5. And the normal take, people would think Myles Garrett was taking that high in draft. He hasn't lived up to it. He has. Cleveland just hasn't been very good. And now that they're a formidable team, he may just, when I say just run away with this defensive player of the year, did you watch him yesterday? Mm-hmm. Listen, everything we were saying about Micah Parsons last year, and Micah Parsons deserves everything we said about him last year. That is what Myles Garrett looks like this year. He's just unstoppable. He's leading the league in sacks and forced fumbles, by the way. Man, listen, he's got a fumble recovery. Did you see it yesterday when it looked like Baltimore was going to have a chance? He just blew the game up. Like he's phenomenal, man. He's phenomenal. So it's going to come down to me. It's going to come down to Cleveland and Baltimore. I think their defenses are a wash. I don't know where John got there, not on their level from. The numbers say otherwise. That's just John's opinion. The numbers don't matter. Doesn't matter that they're only giving up 151 passing yards a game. Doesn't matter that in 9 games they've given up 826
It doesn't matter. Gardner Minshew tore him up. It doesn't matter.
I know, John. Facts don't matter. Like the fact that in 9 games,
it's cool.
Yeah, the fact that in 9 games, quarterbacks, all the quarterbacks they've played are completing 55% of their passes at 151 yards per game. That doesn't matter. Let's focus on Gardner Minshew having one outlier of a good game. Let's not focus on the other 8. Let's not focus that Myles Garrett is leading the league in sacks and forced fumbles. Let's not focus that they've only gave up 826 rushing yards, which is good for 6 in the NFL. Let's not focus on the fact that they've given up the least amount of yards of any team. Let's just say because John feels like it, they're not on the Ravens level.
Look,
that's fine. Hey, John, you don't have to explain it. We get it. You said it is true. It's going to come down to who's better between Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson. That's what it's going to come down to. Joe Burrow, I think John did make this point when he's not playing well. Oh, it's his calf when he plays great. Oh, he's back. I don't know what's up with Cincinnati. But those defenses in Baltimore and Cleveland are wreaking havoc on people.
All right. To our special guest, Denzel, talk to me, my brother. Who is the best team in the AFC North, sir?
To Ray J's point, Myles Garrett, and you look at, someone like a J.J. Watt or a Lawrence Taylor that we, some of us grew up on and everything. We're talking about a defensive player with literal game-changing ability. And he mentioned it. He was like, he's been really, really good, in past years. Cleveland's just been bad. It's arguable that he was the best player on that team for some of those years. I'm in agreement. I think it's out of the Ravens and the Browns. I was thinking about this earlier today, and I was like, you know what? It seems that, with the Cleveland Browns, they have a good enough offense and an elite defense. And maybe that's what it needs to get it done. And on the gauntlet, several times we've mentioned this. We've said that, and shout out to JT because he said this. He was like, you know what? Houston Watson needs to come back. Texans Watson needs to come back if the Browns want to win some games. And he was like, you know what? I don't know if that would ever happen. Yesterday, that was Houston Watson. That was the closest to when we had him. That is what needs to happen out there in Cleveland. He went 14 of 14 the entire second, not just the last 5 minutes or the fourth quarter, the whole second half. That is the Watson that needs to show up. I'm not guaranteeing.
So that was 2019 Watson, is what you're saying.
Do you know what his rating was the first half?
He had a terrible first half.
It was a 2 rating the first half. So don't. Make sure you.
No. Let me finish. I said the second half. The second half is what needs to happen on a consistent basis to give this team more of a chance. I still have the Baltimore Ravens as the best team in this division. As mentioned years before, and Eric Wilson, you alluded to it several years in a row, that as long as they were healthy, they were the best team in this division, and I'm in agreement. As long as they stay healthy, they're the best team in this division. I still have Baltimore, but I'm also not ruling out Cleveland. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Christmas Eve. Cleveland comes to Houston. I'm circling that game because I want to see what Stroud does against that defense, But as far as the AFC North goes, I have Baltimore, but Cleveland is not far behind in my opinion. That's my take.
Okay, all right, Mike. It's so funny because we've always talked about the AFC North, and for years and years and years, it was always Pittsburgh, Baltimore, because we knew what Cleveland was, and Cincinnati was good in the regular season, but then come the postseason, they were one and done. Well, now Joe Burrow steps up to the plate, and the bar, and Ray has alluded to this as well. The only two quarterbacks in the AFC going back since the start of the Patrick Mahomes era and the Joe Burrow era that have been to the AFC Championship game have been the Kansas City Chiefs and Cincinnati Bengals. But it seems like that is changing, at least for one of them this year, because right now it seems like we have 2 votes for Cleveland and 1 vote for Baltimore. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. Until either one of those teams make it to the AFC Championship game, I'm still going to ride on Cincinnati's coattails because I feel like Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, and then on the defensive side, led by Lou Anarumo, they're going to find a way to get it done. Why? Because that's what they have done. Even though this year may not look like it, I still can't bet against them. But it just seems like for this year, we're putting them not on the same level as we have done in the past. And my question is, Mike, along with who is the top, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think their play's done it too. To Ray's point, we have talked about how with Burrow and the injury, you and I agreed shouldn't play. And by the way, Ray, I did say last week Myles Garrett was the runaway defensive player of the year for our half-season awards. Eric and I were talking about that. And I always wanted Jerry Jones to trade up and get him like Myles Garrett asked. There's video of that. It's hilarious because he didn't want to go to Cleveland. But I think to your point, Eric, yes, Cincinnati with Burrow and what he's done and the beating he's taken. He got sacked only 4 times yesterday. And of course we have to say only when it's under, 7 or 8 with Joe Burrow, because that offensive line from the beginning of his tenure in Cincinnati has been the issue. But for this year's best team, yeah, I'm not wavering off of what I said about Baltimore last week. You and I talking Cleveland with that, if that defense plays like that, although, you could have the number 1 or 2 defense, but according to Sean, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't count, which is hilarious. You can't count Cleveland out. And if, yes, Deshaun Watson needs to put together 2 halves, agreed. But that defense is going to keep them in every game. And to your point with Cincinnati, I think why Burrow gets even more the benefit of the doubt, Eric, because the schemes that Lou Anarumo has come up with, because we have seen growth in Cincinnati's defense. yeah, you did let a rookie quarterback, as we're all saying, drive down and get them into field goal position and win the game. But I'm still going to roll with, wow, it's so funny. Pittsburgh has 6 wins, and it's all just, oh, John, they're a fraud. It's funny. They have the same amount of wins as Miami. Hold on. Zip it. They have the same amount of wins as Miami, but Miami's not a fraud because Miami can't beat good teams. They can smack her.
Go ahead and ask yourself.
No. It's not a question. You're done. You've already talked. Miami can't beat good teams, and they haven't. So that's fine. Hey, they haven't beat good teams.
The Cowboys are
frauds. So you sit there. That's fine. Go ahead. Say what you will. That's right. They beat up on a pathetic Giants team, but that's how good teams become great, right, Eric? Because you should destroy teams you're supposed to beat. And yeah, the Cowboys have had some bad losses. We're not talking about that, like you say. And everybody says, oh, Pittsburgh, they just hang around. That defense is there. You look at their schedule. They got the Cardinals coming up. They got the Patriots coming up. That's 8 wins right there. Okay. And then the division games, Eric, because we know they're not getting blown out. So I'm gonna do Ray since he's back. A typical Michael Caratino answer. I'm going with Baltimore, but I wouldn't be shocked if Pittsburgh is right there at the end, just for you, Ray.
They're fodder.
And Miami's a fraud. Denzel, that's for you. Miami's a fraud. Just keep hammering that to John.
Hey, seriously though,
Mike
Eric.
Yes, sir.
To everybody, did y'all actually forget who you think is the best team? Did you watch the Cleveland-Baltimore game yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw highlights from Red Zone, but not start to finish.
Okay,
yes.
So I watched the entire fourth quarter. I watched bits and pieces throughout, but in the game, a bit close, like I said, I'm gonna focus in on this one.
Right.
And man, I almost felt bad. Like I was looking at Myles Garrett's face at points of this game, man. Like we're like the defense go out and make this great play, and they're like, all right, did y'all see like the defense made a great stop, and then my man muffed the punt return, and they gave the ball right back, and you can see they was like, God, man, they go back out there, get another stop. The offense scored, and they missed the extra point. And it's like the defense just kept going, it's okay. They just kept like nodding their head, like it's okay. And then they go out and get a pick six, and then they go out and get another stop, get the ball back and win the game. Like the score say 33-31. Baltimore had 24, I think, at halftime. Was it halftime or mid? Like, so they held them to 7 in the second half. Meant like they and the 7 they got was the give. I think it was off the muff punt, right? That defense was phenomenal in the second half. Like, man, listen.
It still took 2 Cleveland penalties to help them get that touchdown.
Ray, the Ravens scored 14 in the second half. They got shut out in the second quarter. It was 17-9. It was 17-9 at half. Ravens.
They scored the 7 early in the second half, is what I'm saying. And then, like he just said, that's something people not even going to talk about. They shut them down for 3 downs in a row, and on the last play, a penalty was called to give the Ravens 4 more downs. And then they shut them down again and got another penalty at the end to give them 4 more downs. Like, man, that defense, bro, I was like, yo, they doing everything to take this game from them. They still won. Like, listen, man.
Hey, Ray, isn't it funny? All those, everybody ripped on them for just getting picks, and they spent a lot of them on defense. It sucks they don't have Nick Chubb, because if Nick Chubb was healthy, I'd say they run away with the damn division. But
probably
those picks that they made on defense, all those guys they got, obviously Myles Garrett, but you got a guy like Denzel Ward. I mean, there's a ton they actually spent when people were like, why are you going after defense? Well, to your point, look at the division they're in.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing. When we look at certain divisions, we kind of tend to focus on one side of the ball more than the other. When it comes to the AFC North, the one thing I can say consistently we've always talked about has been the defenses of those 4 teams, because you are going to get beat up. You are going to get bruised. You are going to get battered. It's just one of those things where in that division, every divisional matchup, and Denzel will appreciate this, every divisional matchup is a Hell in a Cell match. That's exactly what it is. It's a street fight from beginning to end. It don't matter. Coming up, they got war games coming up, and that's what's fitting to be when these divisional teams, especially this weekend, because look, Thursday night we got Cincinnati, we got Baltimore. Then on Sunday, we got Pittsburgh, Cleveland. I mean, you just want to talk about matchups, styles make fights. Man, I'm anticipating those are going to be good games. And I was so thankful after watching Carolina and Chicago last Thursday, I was like, Jesus, you done answered my prayers personally by giving us a Thursday night matchup that we all could sit there and truly enjoy.
And then we get Eagles Chiefs Monday night too. Whew.
Yes, we do. I may not be on the show, Denzel, that we may need you to fill back in because it is the rematch of the Super Bowl.
I'll be there.
And I don't know if I'm going to be – I might be glued to the TV that night. I may need y'all to take over the show. Ray, I may need you to take over. Bring a host in because –
this is a moment where I hate the NFL because the Bears somehow – the Bears somehow and even the Panthers got primetime games, and the Texans still remain the only team without a primetime game this season.
Well, I mean, come on.
Mike, who you play on Thanksgiving
night? They could get flexed on a Sunday night.
We can get flexed, but it hadn't happened yet.
Right. Mike, who you play on Thanksgiving?
Commanders.
It doesn't matter who you play.
Washington.
It doesn't matter.
Well, we got Carolina this week, so
I'm picking Carolina.
I know you are. I love when you take losses. It's good. It's good.
All right, let's get to our last topic here tonight on the Sports
Giants.
Thank you. Yeah. Mike, do I need to do a public service announcement
again? No, dude. I'm
I
just
need
saying.
to do a public service announcement?
I just hope you're angry enough when they're in Miami.
Christmas Eve.
What he's doing is the equivalent of swatting him on the nose with a newspaper right
Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, Mike, is the only time you might get a Christmas present from me. And if I do decide to do it, it is solely because of this man right here.
Oh,
he keeps poking the bear. He keeps poking the bear, and I might.
I mean, this team's a fraud.
All right, goodbye. See, he
sat out a week.
We're wants
back.
Me to do it.
We sat out a week. Now we're back. No more bye weeks. Okay. No more bye weeks. We're going to play all the way to the Super Bowl. The only time you won't hear is during the Pro Bowl week.
Wow. Okay. We're transitioning, ladies and gentlemen, and we're moving to the NBA. So I want to get some early season thoughts. We're 9 games in. Looking at the standings thus far, Philadelphia is 8-1. The Celtics 8-2. The Pacers, your Heat are 6-4, John. The Magic, the Orlando Magic are sitting at 5-4 right now. And, going down the list. Now, in the Western Conference, the reigning champs sitting at 8-2. Luka and the Dallas Mavericks are also at 8-2. Ray, sitting at 500 are your Los Angeles Lakers. I'm sorry, yes, Denzel.
He's dying to talk about the Lakers.
The 6-3 Houston Rockets. And I was going to follow that up by saying, Mike, your Suns are 4-6.
Oh, man, we should talk about that more, how bad they are with all. I told you the lack of depth would get them. I told you, Mike. Okay. Top heavy as anything. I tried telling you about the Suns. You didn't listen. Your season's over. You might as well just give up now.
At 4-6, the season's over, John. You do
Public
realize
service
that last year.
Don't listen to John on anybody's season being over because he still hasn't admitted his Miami Dolphins are a fraud.
John, you do realize that
they're a Fieri.
The Los Angeles Lakers started 2-10, and where did they wind up?
They have LeBron James.
The Western Conference
they had
Finals.
depth. Like the Suns don't have any depth. They gave it all away.
Okay. Let me get some early season thoughts from everybody. And as the show is aptly named on ESPN, we're going to go around the horn here. So let me start with Mike Caratanillo. Just give me some early season thoughts on how you feel about the NBA season thus far.
I love Dame and Giannis together. I know, they're not 8-2. Your Sixers like Tyrese Maxey. We talked about him taking the next step. The only Philadelphia team I don't have any disliking for, Eric. So that's one thing you and I have bonded on for a long time. Sixers were always okay. I mean, the Flyers are bums. The Eagles, the Phillies, But I mean, that being said, no. But I mean, look, looking at the early season, I don't think it's. I do love, like we talked about the tournament. I do love that, but yeah, I mean, the Knicks at 5-5, like you said, your Magic at 5-4. The Bucks, I mean,
they're not my Magic. I just have the privilege of covering them from time to time.
Your friendly neighborhood Orlando Magic. Sorry, 5-4.
Thank you.
But look, the Celtics, and obviously with the Harbaugh, everybody wanted to see what the Sixers would get for Harden. I mean, we obviously talked about that at length because once he got out, what would they be able to do? Well, they're 8-1, just chilling out. I'll be interested to see how. I mean, a lot of people already said Chicago's season is over, but they're not going to be any good. Cleveland, they're at 4-5 right now. And again, like you said, Lakers started 2-8 last year. Cleveland's to me that team, I think they should be able to make a run. I'm interested to see how they build off of last year. I mean, yeah, losing to the Knicks in the playoffs. But yeah, in the Eastern Conference, I mean, with the Sixers, Celtics, not really surprised. The Pacers, 6-4, guess a little bit of a surprise there because again, full disclosure, it's not like I watch much Pacers hoops. The West, yeah, with the Nuggets, the Mavericks at 8-2 is surprising to me a little bit, but the T-Wolves, I think they'll get better. The 6-3 Rockets. Hey, if this is the last time they're 3 games over 500, Denzel, at least you have that. But hey, man, I'm not picking on them. We'll see what happens.
I'll take it.
I think I think Sacramento and the Lakers and the Suns. I mean, definitely, I think those 3 go on runs. I mean, like I said, it's early. John wants to say everybody's season's over. I mean, if you want to say anybody's season's over, just admit the Heat have no chance in the East because the Celtics
we've
are
come
better.
All the way back.
John, we're not talking to you just yet. Let me hear from one of the basketball analyst greats, in my opinion. And yes, I'm biased because when it comes to basketball, this brother, okay, you could say sketchy all you want, but John, I will challenge you any day of the week and twice on Friday to go up against a sports reporter without pay with regards to any basketball topic at all. Because, John, I'll bet my house, your house, Mike's car, and Denzel's house that the sports reporter without pay would mollywop you and walk it dry. So let's not even – come on now.
Hey, John,
anyhow.
I'll tell you what,
I
John,
needed a good nap. Thank you.
Early season takeaways. I would say this. One, I don't know what's going on in Golden State. Let's start there. Oddly enough, not a single Golden State Warrior outside of Steph Curry has scored 20 points in a game. That's unbelievable. You can't win basketball games that way. They started off really hot. I think they were like 6-2 or something like that, and now they're 6-5. Yeah, they're on a 3-game losing streak. So, Luka looks phenomenal. Jokic looks phenomenal. And I said this. I just did a show right before this one. Y'all will see some shorts come out from it. I'm going to talk about another guy here shortly. I will say this, and I don't know if this is the question. I don't understand the in-season tournament. It hasn't made
Johnny Manziel style money, baby, money.
Yeah, but I think the idea behind it was supposed to garner more interest somehow from fans. And I don't think that's what it's done at all. I just don't understand it. I don't see the point behind it. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm a fan of the game. I'm going to watch regardless. So I don't know what that did. The Lakers look like the Lakers look at the beginning of every year. I will say this. Steph Curry won MVP in 15 and 16. Giannis won MVP in 19 and 20. Jokic won it in 21, 22. And the guy that won it in 23 looked like he's trying to win it 2 times in a row. I just listen to these numbers. Game 1, they lose. He had 24.7 rebounds, 6 assists. Since then, in the winning streak, 34 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 blocks. 35 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 6 blocks. 28 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, and a block. 26 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block. 48 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, and a block. 27 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 blocks, and a steal.
Good Lord.
33 points, 16 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks. 37 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, a block, and a steal. To the tune of 32 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists on 51% shooting and 36 from 3. Joel Embiid is playing like a man on a mission. And oddly enough, he does this. Like, he goes through these stretches. I remember doing a post where it was like a 2-month stretch where this dude was putting up 35 and 15 a game. Like, he does this. And to start the season off like this, it's like I'll say this much though, Eric. You can enjoy that piece I just gave, and he may very well repeat his MVP. Maxi's taken a tremendous leap. He giving like 26 a game right now. None of this
in the last one, right?
Huh?
Maxi just had a 50, just dropped
50.
He had a 50, bro. Yes, he did.
Yeah. I will say this though. The Philadelphia 76ers, sir. You know as well as I do. Let me see if I can make sure I'm saying this right. Yeah. Last year lost in the second round. Year before that lost in the second round. Year before that lost in the second round. Year before that lost in the first round. Year before that lost in the second round. Year before that lost in the second round. At some point, I mean, calling it what
Wheels
it is,
will fall
right?
off.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying the wheels will fall off. I'm saying at this point in Embiid's career, none of this even matters, right? Like he's playing like the front runner for MVP to retain to go back to back, and if he does it, good on him. But
Right,
at
it
this
might be
point
a
in his
simple-
career,
It might be a simple question, but are you doing this because even in the post, like after when he won the MVP, a lot of postseason chatter was that the Joker should have got his third.
no, and listen, if you watch anything I did last year, right? Voters fatigue is a real thing, right? And then the idea when a player, has come in set, like think and Jokic, both his two Embiid came in second, right? A lot of times players get MVPs and it's not even their best year. I think 08 wasn't Kobe's best year, and that's the year he got MVP. Sometimes voters do this kind of we owe you one kind of thing, right? I don't think that, put it like this, I don't think Embiid was not deserving last year. Had Jokic won it, whatever. I don't think Embiid was not deserving. Just like now, I gave you Embiid's numbers. If I read Jokic numbers, they're going to sound very similar.
Yep.
Right? And Luka is from planet Mars. Like you know what I mean?
They don't play defense there either.
But for Embiid, right? For the point that he is in his career, right? With Philadelphia having lost in the second round, 5 out of the last 6 years, and the other time was the first round, and every year was a different reason, right? They put it all on Ben Simmons. Then at one point they had Jimmy Butler. Then at one point it's like, Tobias Harris not a good enough third option. They've been making a lot of moves. They brought in Harden last year, a guy who catches all the flack when the team not doing well, but he put up 22 and 10 in Philly last year. Even dropped a 40 piece in the playoffs, right? Just wasn't enough. Philly just keeps losing in the second round. So for Embiid, winning another MVP would be great. Defensive player of the year would be great, but for him, it's all about titles now. All those other guys I named that went back-to-back MVPs, they got rings too. Steph got 4. Giannis went back-to-back MVP. He got a ring and a defensive player of the year. Jokic went back-to-back MVP. The year he didn't win MVP, he went and got him a finals MVP. These guys have all been in the finals. Embiid ain't been to the Eastern Conference Finals yet.
Right.
So he just has to prove himself, man. That's my early thoughts. Is Embiid looks like the front runner. Between him, I got him, Jokic, and Luka as my front runners right now. And it's early. It's only 10 games in, but they're all playing phenomenal. Their teams are winning. But Embiid's on another level right now. And Maxey, I asked the question to a Philly fan. I said, can Maxey be for Embiid what Jamal Murray was for Jokic? If he can be, then Philly can be. That
was supposed to be. That was the original intent. But then Ben Simmons showed up, and then Butler was there, and there was so much that. Well, by the time Maxey got there, this is his moment. It's one of those things where we always say, well, when we talk NFL and we talk quarterbacks, whether it be Tua or Jalen Hurts, and I'll just use those two as an example. What did we say about both of them? If you give them the weapons and put them in the position, they're gonna show up.
Eric, I don't know if you see these shots being fired at you.
I see them. I see them.
That's my brother from another mother.
Listen. The only thing that Dom and I have in common right now is the fact that I am a huge supporter of his Detroit and the sports reporter without pays Detroit Lions. Other than that, me and Dom are constantly going to go back and forth.
Until they play the Cowboys.
It's fine.
Or the Ravens.
But what I'm saying to you is, I'm looking at Maxey right now and saying, okay, no one else is in your way of being Robin to Joel Embiid's Batman. No one. So this is your moment. This is your time to prove that you coming in and being a part of this team, of this organization, is your time to shine right now. So we'll see it. But let me get Denzel in here. I've already said my piece about how I feel. We'll get with John and we'll close out the show tonight. But Denzel, when you look at NBA early season, and I know you're going to take time to talk about your Rockets, sir, please feel free. Just please don't be like John and go off the deep end because I will have to boot you off the show. That's all I'm asking.
Amen. As real
quick, a badge of honor.
I've never done this on the show before. I've never preemptively done this before somebody talked, but I'm going to just go ahead because I know he's going to talk about Houston. Like, I just see it coming, and I'm going to say this before he gets started. Like, now we got to hear about Dylan Brooks and Jalen. Go ahead, man.
It's killing me, son. I wasn't even gonna go that hard. But listen, hang on. I mean, like, this is a team that only won like 20 games the last 2 years, like a piece. So but you know what? It may as well have been total. That's how it felt. I mean, I got a reason to be happy for my team right now. I said we need a veteran presence, and we went out and got it. No, I'm not. I'm still not crazy about the Dylan Brooks. That I'm just not a fan of. But has he stepped up defensively? Yes. Van Vliet went out there and he went 8-0 the other night to win the game. That was great. They had a great win against the Nuggets just last night and everything. They're 6-3, 6 straight. You know, I'm happy right now. I really am. I wanted to. And Ray J. Lynn actually mentioned everything I said. I was going to say about Maxey, but I recall an old episode of the Sports Arena, probably about a year or two ago, and you, Eric, and James were talking about Tyrese Maxey, and you said you needed to see more from him. I think this is the time. I think this is it. Now, I know, yeah, he dropped the 50-piece and everything, but this is the potential that I think that Philadelphians need to see out of him, that he could be the true number 2. Now, you might say, I need to see more. Do we all need to see more? Cool, you know. But with that being said, he's showing that he can be a true alpha to Embiid. He's showing that he can take the pressure off of him because you saw the stats, you heard the stats that Ray J. Lynn ran down as far as Embiid. He can take a break every now and again, and you can hand it to Maxey. And the Pacers have a pretty nice offense last I checked, you know. And so dropping 50 on them ain't easy. And it was in a win. So, you know, as far as Maxey goes, I believe in him for you guys, and I'm glad that, you know, he has a truth because the whole thing with Harden, it didn't work out. Now he's at the Clippers, and everyone has their thoughts about that and everything. And then as far the in-season tournament, it's hit or miss for me. I mean, I know if I was an NBA player, because I look at everything from the lens of I got to put myself in their shoes, right? I'm never going to turn down an opportunity to make extra money. So if it means that I can make another $500,000 playing a game that I already was going to play anyway during the season, sure, why not? You know, it's anyone's guess as to why the tournament was created. You know, but with that being said, I mean, there's a cash prize in it. And, you know, we all talk about like athletes, they need to get in there and make as much money as they possibly can before they go in and get out of here, right? So the in-season tournament, why not? What's an extra $500,000, you know? And then you keep playing more years, and that's another $500,000, another $500,000. Get as much money as you can before you get out of here. I'm never going to be mad about a brother making a buck, you know? Anybody making some money.
You know, and I think a lot of that, I agree with Ray with regard to, I think it was to garner more attention.
Mm-hmm.
To John's point about the money, I think is right, but I also want to throw this in, and as y'all know, I am a huge advocate for women's sports. I think they saw the success of the Commissioner's Cup in the WNBA and said, why not give it an opportunity and see how it comes out? See what plays out. You know what I'm saying? If this in-season tournament doesn't bode well, then they'll just get rid of it. But for 2 years now, the WNBA has introduced the Commissioner's Cup, and it has garnered the attention of onlookers and people who, you know, maybe weren't a fan or didn't even pay attention to it. Now there was something in season to make more money, number one, as you said, but number two, just to bring awareness. So, because as we said, we watch the NBA, the 5 of us here on the Sports Arena, and I'm sure members of the Sideline Sports Network as well, we watch sports for several reasons, not just for entertainment, but also from a media perspective, from a journalistic perspective, from an analyst perspective. The average fan with regards to the NBA, unless you are a diehard fan or LeBron James, Steph Curry, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic is coming to your hometown, that would be the reason why you would pay attention, because typically we don't start talking about the NBA until March. Let's just keep it a buck. We don't. And I'm not saying us, I'm saying the outside world. So now you have this in-season tournament, and it's like, oh, well, if this team, you know, we're going up against, let's see how things play out. The awareness to drive more revenue and more sales and more merchandise and just line the arenas with more people. Mm-hmm. I have to agree with John, but let's see how everything fares with it. John, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, they did a good job at not putting it all at once, like spreading it out. Was it like Tuesdays and Fridays or whatever?
Right. Yeah, Tuesdays and Fridays.
And the courts look pretty cool. I mean, like all the courts I think they look pretty cool. It's something different that they're trying with all the courts, how they painted them and whatnot. I thought that looks pretty cool. It generates some buzz for the NBA, makes the players
before Christmas, John. before
It
Christmas.
makes the players somewhat care more about the games. Fans care more about the regular season games because let's face it, like the only regular season that anybody cares about is the NFL. Nobody cares about any of the other three's regular season. You know what I mean? Until it's like close to playoff time, it's time to like lock up divisions and one seeds. Like nobody cares about basketball, baseball, or hockey early in season, so they got to find a way to make the games matter. That's why they're doing the load management thing. That's why they're doing this. The money is the biggest factor, but I also think they're trying to get more, more eyeballs, more people caring about it because what's a sport if it's just the playoffs? Like you got to care about both. That's why the NFL does a great job. But I wanted to talk about James Harden, man. But the Clippers haven't won since they went and got fat suit. This is great, and the Sixers have done nothing but win. This is fantastic. Like this couldn't have played out any better than it has. I love it. The Clippers are just a disaster. Good for your Sixers, getting rid of the cancer out of their bodies, and they're finally cancer-free. They can ring the bell and
real
play
quick,
a lot
John.
better, get rid of that
John, can I ask you a
tumor
question?
in their stomach that they had. That's a cancer. That is
John,
James Harden.
John,
Get
can I ask you a
that
question?
suit out of here.
Hey, Jonathan, can I ask you a question?
He called him
I
by his.
couldn't hear you.
I know. Real quick. James Harden was on the Philadelphia 76ers last year, right? How far did they make it in the playoffs with James Harden?
Same place they always do.
Right. Somebody help me understand, because the media has given us all the idea that Harden makes the team worse. That's what the media tells you guys. And then y'all just run with it. Harden's a cancer. They made it to the same place last year. Now watch this. Your guy,
Ray.
When your guy that you love so much, that's in Miami now, was there in Philly and Harden wasn't there, they made it to the same place they did when Harden was there. Second round.
Wait, I've been in enough.
Is that or is that not a fact?
I've been in enough locker rooms.
He is true. That is right, John.
I've been in enough locker rooms to be able to tell whenever there's a guy in there that either lifts the team up or brings them down. And he's a guy that brings them down. It's not about the court because he could play point guard. He's at that point in his career if he accepts it, or he can score some points, but he is more of a facilitator.
What do you mean if he accepts it? He led the league in assists last year.
But I'm saying the guy in the locker room, man. Like what you are to your team, you're the brick upper, you pull him down.
Accepts it. He's averaged over 10 assists for 3 seasons in a row now, and you're saying if he accepts it. He's clearly
we saw the guy shoot
out
shots trying to get 40. He got 40 or whatever in the playoffs last year.
That happens sometimes. Like guys get hot and they score points. What do you mean? He's clearly
not
accepted
that
the
guy
role
anymore.
as a facilitator. What do you mean? He clearly scored 40 in a playoff game. What do you mean?
He's not that guy.
Just make the facts what you want them to be. The facts are
you're just so defensive of James Harden.
No. I'm defensive
He's a cancer.
Fact.
You gotta admit it.
Based on what?
He's forced his way out of every situation he can in the NBA. And when a guy wears a fat suit,
he forced his way out of Brooklyn because of Kyrie Irving, and he turned to point guard.
Why did he force his way out? He forced his way out of Houston. He forced his way out of Brooklyn.
John,
forced his way out of Philly.
John, how many teams is he on right now? No, bring him back. How many teams is this for James Harden? How many teams does this make for him?
15. It's like 50. I lost.
OKC, Houston, Brooklyn, Philly, and now in LA, right? What makes him any different? How many teams is this for Kevin Durant?
He doesn't force his way out of everything.
What do you mean? He just forced his way out of Brooklyn. What are you talking about?
He asked for a trade. It's different than what
James Harden did. That's called forcing your way. What do you mean?
It's not the same. It's not the same. Wearing a fat suit is forcing your way out of there.
Listen,
wanting to go is wanting to go.
Wanting to go is wanting to go. Out of there. Bro, listen. I'm simply saying this is the new wave, whatever you want to call it, right? How many teams is this for Westbrook now?
Does he go and
I'm asking you a question. How many teams is this for Russell Westbrook?
I don't know, like 15 now.
OKC. Houston. Washington. Lakers. Now he with the Clippers.
Clips.
Yeah, 5.
It's 5 for Westbrook, huh? How many is this for KD? OKC, Golden State, Brooklyn, now Phoenix.
4.
You know, it's
LeBron is
not
on
even the
team number
same
4.
thing.
Kawhi is on team number 3.
LeBron's
Well-
on. Yeah, LeBron's on 4. Yes.
Well, if you consider his second stint with Cleveland, he's really on team number 3, right? Kawhi's on team number 3. Paul George is on team number 1, 2, 3, right? Like all the stars are moving teams now, but when it's a guy like James Harden, you go,
It's not
oh,
even
like
a
he's a
team.
cancer. You can say it's not. As a matter of fact, how many teams is this for Jimmy Butler?
It's not the same thing.
Minnesota.
Yes, it is, because he had to
Chicago.
force his way out of
Chicago,
Minnesota.
Philly.
Forced his way out of
Nobody
Philly.
does
Don't
what
even
James
do
Harden
that crap.
Hold on. So
He
Jimmy
forced his way out of Philly.
Jimmy Butler went to a practice, started a fight with his teammates, and left and was doing a 5-minute interview 5 minutes later with Rachel.
Oh yeah, Jimmy
right?
Butler still has the best thing. Tobias Harris over me. Come on, John.
He was right.
And then
He was
he
right.
went to Philly. I know, right? So if Jimmy Butler's so great, right? They made it to the second round. He was there, and then when the cancer was there, they made it to the second round. When Harden was playing with KD, they made it to the second round. Where else has KD been since he left Golden State?
When
There's
Harden
no
was
Harden.
playing with KD, the first time they played together, they made it to the Western Conference. They made it to the NBA.
They made it to the finals. I'm
They
talking
made
about
the finals.
superstar Harden. Since Harden was in, Chris Paul, when his whole career couldn't make it out to past the second round, he made it to the Western Conference Finals playing with James Harden.
He did.
Right?
He did.
Like for a guy that y'all claim as a cancer to just went out year after
Well,
year.
don't
putting
say
him
all
on-
you.
I'm
Don't
talking
say-
to the. I'm speaking to the person that said it, Mike. Right? Because the media told y'all
I don't know how
Harden's a
you can
bad guy and
deny
he's not
it.
a good team. Harden's a bad guy and he's not a good teammate, right? Based on who? Based on what? Like if you say Philly, he was a cancer there. They made it the same distance they made the last 5 years before he got there with Ben Simmons, with Jimmy Butler, with Tobias here, with whoever. He went and played with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant didn't make it no less or no further. Russell Westbrook has won one playoff series since 2016. Guess who he was playing with when he did it? Riding
James
alongside
Harden.
James Harden. Other than that, he ain't won a playoff series. But y'all call the guy cancer because the media tell y'all that.
No, it's because what I see.
Yeah, but what do you see? Tell me all these other people that
I
Harden's
just
such a
got
cancer.
done
I know.
telling you.
Okay, so tell me this, John. Harden is such a cancer. All these people he played with in these different places he's forced his way out of. Tell me what these people have done outside of him
That's
better
not
than they
relevant.
did with him.
That's
It's
not
very
relevant.
it's
It's
very
not at all
relevant. I almost
relevant.
dropped the F-bomb. It's very relevant because results is what matter. Joel Embiid was the league MVP just right now playing with James Harden while he led the league in assists. Ain't win MVP before him. Made it to the second round. Same place he made without him. Russell Westbrook, last time he's won a playoff series was playing with James Harden. Chris Paul played 16 years without making it past the second round until he played with James Harden. But the media tells y'all he's a bad guy and a bad teammate.
That doesn't
None-
mean that he
none of
doesn't know how
these-
to play basketball. You're taking it a completely different direction.
Because what matters is what you do on the court, right?
Everything matters. Who you are as a teammate. Look,
If it's
that's
not, hold on. So it only matters if what you do off the court affects the on-court product. And I just gave you a laundry list of people that haven't done better, not with Harden, than they have with Harden. You can't refute that. So then you talk about his character. He wore a fat suit. Doesn't matter. When he
It
gets
does
on the
matter.
when he gets on the basketball court, what happens?
I didn't
Play
say he
ball.
couldn't play basketball.
That's how this conversation started. Oh, look at Philly now. They got rid of James Harden. They're so great. They're going to lose in the second round again.
It
Sorry.
brings up morale matters. Morale
Damn,
matters.
Ray. Damn, Ray.
Momentum and morale matter. You
we
can't
was
ignore
good,
that. You
man.
can't just say, "Oh,
I'm
the
just
stats and the
saying.
facts are the only thing that matters." Morale matters.
Hey, man,
All right.
I just won a football pool because this game hit 42 points. I'm happy about that.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for us here tonight on the Sports Arena. Really quick, shout out to our brother, man, Denzel. Thank you for coming through, my brother. I appreciate
Good
you.
job,
Much
man.
love. And again, ladies and gentlemen, give some love to this man right here. The Sports Arena Week
Freaking
10
Raiders.
Weekly Pick'ems winner for the 5th time. The Sports Reporter without pay.
My
Ray
mom
Lynn.
even texted me, Eric, and said, "How did the Jets lose to the Raiders?" My mom
Hey.
texted me, "How did the
Listen.
Jets lose to the Raiders?"
Can we call it 5.333? Because when me, Mike, and May, I'm taking that 0.3.
Sure.
I'm 5.3.
Sure. Five and a third.
Hey,
Yeah.
Eric, real quick.
Yes,
We
sir.
don't have to do a segment. We don't have to. I would just like to bring to y'all's attention
Okay.
very brief who knew I knew. You remember after week 2, Eric, you posed a question to us? Do you remember that? You remember what the question was that you posed to us in week 2? It was like 4 or 5 things. As a matter of fact, let me rephrase. I posed the question. It was the week I hosted, and I put it up there. And we said, out of the teams that were 0-2 at the time,
Right.
which team has the best chance at possibly turning it around?
Yes.
Anybody remember my answer?
No.
Anybody know that Minnesota's won 6 in the games?
Minnesota.
Anybody know that Minnesota's won 6 games in a row right now?
Longest winning streak in the league.
Yes, it is.
Just saying.
Okay.
And it's crazy that they went and got Josh Dobbs because
Josh Dobbs for MVP.
Hold on, listen. He was playing too well for Arizona. They said, you got to go, bro.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to be winning games. What are you doing? No, Minnesota. Listen, what's crazy is Minnesota's still winning games with no Justin Jefferson.
With no Jay Jettas.
No Justin Jefferson and no Kirk Cousins. Crazy.
And they got rid of Dalvin Cook.
That's crazy.
And Dalvin Cook should have had 1, if not 2 touchdowns last night, but I almost dropped the F-bomb myself. CJ Uzomah with the penalties. I'm like, really? It was a game of field goals last night, man.
Eric,
Crap.
if this happens, and you know this kind of conversation can go down a different road. Dom say a lot of crazy stuff in the comments, but this is a very interesting comment he made. This was in response to Michael Cartenuto saying his mom said, how did the Jets lose to the Raiders? And he says, because the team is going to rally around Antonio Pierce, which they usually do with a new coach.
Mm-hmm.
Finish with a respectable record and then not hire him. That's a whole different ball of wax.
Yep.
I would love to screenshot this comment and come back to that.
You know what? That might be a smoke session.
Leave it up there. I'm gonna screenshot it right now. Leave it up there. I'm gonna screenshot this right now.
I'm going the opposite. I think he gets a job before the season's out.
Hey, Eric, that might be a smoke session, bro.
I think he gets a job.
I don't think that's a Mark Davis type style. I don't think that's style.
I think
he's gonna want to hire his guy.
If they win, I don't 4 more games, right? So they win 3 or 4 more games. Hold
on, Mike, hold that thought just for a second. I'm coming right back to you. Call on the audible real quick, Eric. I don't even know if we do this anymore, but all right, Mike.
Yeah,
talk about it. Your screen froze, but talk about it.
Yeah, no, I just think that I just think Antonio Pierce, they win 3-4 more games. I think he gets a job before the season even ends. Like I do. I don't see it.
So question, did anybody else hear about they went for 2? Buffalo went for 2.
No, the Broncos
they missed the extra point. Okay, yeah. Okay. So did anybody else hear this story about McDaniels had when the team was upset or something and was airing out their grievances, and McDaniels had Pierce speak to the team like on his behalf, and whatever it was that he said, like the team was kind of feeling it, and he was pissed at him afterwards because I guess he used some kind of Belichick reference or something like that, and it was like McDaniels was like, don't ever whatever he said to him, and it was like at that moment people knew that it was a house divided. Those two weren't like on the same sheet of music. And now he's gone and Pierce is in, and it never fails, man. Like, we get a new coach, you get a new quarterback, and which they have both, right? Teams play harder. Just is what it is. Eric, I've been on record for years, and I said it that year. If Carson Wentz doesn't get hurt, I don't think you guys win the Super Bowl. And I genuinely believe that. You get a backup quarterback in, and it turns into win one for the – like, they played harder. You play harder for the backup. Because he's nervous. He's never been in this position. So everybody else going to try and go a step harder to make his job easier. Mm-hmm. That's why I think you guys won the Super Bowl.
The only reason I don't think that they hire Pierce is because of what they did to Bisaccia a couple years ago when he clearly deserved to have a shot at that job, and they never gave him a shot at the job. Never hired him after he did a hell of a job for them filling in, I believe, when Gruden got kicked to the curb, and they never gave him a shot at the job. So I don't have any faith. I think Davis is the type of guy that wants to hire his guys, who he wants.
Yeah, but I think Antonio Pierce is that guy just because, look, there's a lot of people in my neck of the woods that are very bitter at Herm Edwards and Antonio Pierce, John. That's a conversation for another time. But I'm just saying, as a coach and how the players have reacted, and yes, to Ray's point, they're going to rally around him. But I think, look, you win 3 to 4 more games. You weren't expected to do anything anyway, and they're what? They're at 500, right? They're 5-5 with that win.
5-5, yeah.
5-5, yeah. So that
we're gonna get smacked this week, but
but say they finish 9-8, which is very feasible with the record they have right now. I think he gets hired before the season ends. I think Mark Davis would totally do that, and I think the players. And I said it when Bisaccia was not even offered the job. I agree with you, John, but I think it's just different with Antonio Pierce. It's a different feel. And that defense, again, he's a defensive guy. But, man, I do know he can motivate, and I mean he can coach. So I wouldn't be surprised if he should get the job before the season ends. They went
really quick.
The Raiders
really quick.
gotta-
So they're 5-5 right now. Okay.
Mhm.
Here's their schedule moving forward: at Miami, versus Kansas City, versus Minnesota, versus it says LA. I don't know if it's the Rams or the Chargers.
It's the
It's a win
Chargers.
either- it's
It's
a win
the
either
Chargers,
way.
and it's in Vegas.
Chargers. Okay.
The Nets.
At
Chiefs.
Kansas City, at
Mhm.
Indianapolis, they close out against Denver. So you're looking at 7 more games.
They could get 5. They could get 4 more wins.
They
They
can get
could-
4.
They
They
can
get
get
four.
4
They
of
can
those.
get 4.
And I'm saying they might get Kansas City in Vegas.
Kansas City.
No.
If the Broncos held Mahomes
It's a divisional
to
game, John.
if they held Mahomes to no touchdown for the first time in 3 seasons,
Yeah.
the Raiders can beat them.
But the
John,
Broncos
if-
have a solid.
The Raiders can
team.
beat 'em.
Like, they have some
Not to
solid
mention,
players.
even
You don't
even
think
the
Max
Dolphins
Crosby
shut them out in the
is-
second half.
You don't think Max Crosby is itching to get to Patrick Mahomes, bro?
But who else do they got? They don't have an
in
all-pro
Vegas.
corner.
Okay. All
They
right.
don't have
I'm
a
just
Pro
saying.
Bowl safety.
Okay. All I'm saying to you is it's a division game and anything is possible.
Hey, all I'm saying is they beat
I-
Miami. They
I
beat
just would
Miami,
like-
baby.
Listen, man, I'm telling y'all right now, and there's no disrespect to the Raiders, right? And for instance, we do our pick'ems, right, Eric?
Right.
I'm picking against them the next 5 weeks.
Miami, Kansas City, Minnesota, Chargers, Kansas City.
They might lose their next 5 games.
Yep.
Like
Might.
Kansas
might.
City twice. That's
Well, one
tough,
of those,
man.
it's a division game. That's why I'm saying I might
It's
get the
I mean-
edge.
In all
Man.
fairness, it's a division game. Did you have the Broncos beating the Chiefs?
No, but that game
No
was
one did.
overseas too.
An
That
aberration.
game was overseas, wasn't it? That was the
No,
that
that
was
was at
in
Mile
Denver.
High.
That was
That
in
was at
Denver.
Mile High.
That was in Denver. You're right. That was the Dave Chappelle night that I couldn't. I was like, what? Wait, what?
I would really be curious. I mean, I know they own the division, but I would really be curious to see what Kansas City's record is in the division in the last 5 or 6 years.
Since Patrick
I'd
Mahomes
be
showed up, I
surprised.
think
I'd be surprised
That
if they
was
got
Patrick
4 losses.
Mahomes' first loss in 16 division
First
games.
road loss.
No, first
First
loss
road
in
loss.
16 division games.
I mean,
And they lost
Well,
to the Broncos.
listen, we got plenty of conversation for another time. That's why we do this each and every Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. Y'all already know what time it is. Shout out to my man Denzel, man. Do me a favor, brother. Take 20 seconds. Let the world know where they can find you at, man.
Denzel Sniper 13 on Twitch. Also, you see it also the Gauntlet Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also got the Gauntlet Percents picked off. That's our NFL weekly picks. That's Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Confidentials in the off season. We're gonna let you know further about when we're coming back on. Also on the South Florida Tribune, Pointers Pointed, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big shout out E-Dub, Ray J, Big Mike, John Shear. Thanks for having me on. E-Dub, if you need me for Monday Night Football next week, give me a holler.
Oh, trust me. I'm gonna say probably you might want to just plan on being here because
Bet.
Eagles Chiefs. I don't know. Like Mike knows this. When it's Eagles Cowboys, I don't sit down the whole entire game.
Yo,
That
Eric,
game had me stressed. Yes, John.
The Bills just committed pass interference. The
Which was a crap call.
Broncos have the ball at the 12-yard line, down by 1, under a minute to go,
29 seconds left.
and the Broncos have a chance to win this with a game-winning field goal.
Crap interference call. Crap.
They
All
can.
right.
Hey,
It
Yeah,
is-
that,
this
that
is
should've been
amazing.
no-
This
Come
already-
on, Broncos! Yeah.
this jumps into a segment next week. I don't know who's more disappointing so far, Buffalo or Cincinnati. This is, yeah.
Ray, what did you and I say? I told you 10 wins, and you said, you know what? I look at their schedule, and you said 10 wins is right about where they should be. And these guys didn't believe us, but we said 10 wins.
Who,
They're
Buffalo?
right about that course.
Who, Buffalo?
Yep. So we
If they
said
lose
yes.
tonight, they 5-5. That's more like 7-8 wins.
Hey, I'm not going to complain about that. I'm
I
just
mean-
saying, like 10 is
John's
exactly
just
where
saying
I
that
am.
because
Eric,
he in Miami.
I mean, look, Miami's a Ferrari on the outside, a Fiero on the inside. So I was
All right.
right about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does it for all of us here on the Sports Arena. We will see y'all next Monday night. Hey, everybody stay blessed, and we are out. Peace.